Hey, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I hope you're having a blessed day wherever in the world you are. Welcome to Pep Talk, the podcast where we give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help us God. We take all these interesting and sometimes complex and sometimes a little unordinary conversations in health and wellness, and we break them down into simple, digestible, understandable pieces. And we try to give you action steps that you can take to improve your health, the health of your family, and those of you that are physicians watching this program to help improve the health of your patients in your community. I'm your host, Dr. Eric Naputi. I'm excited to go down this interesting road of this conversation we're going to have today about something that I talk about in my clinical practice all the time, and that's your mitochondria. How many of you would say that your energy is low? Your get up and go, got up and went. Yeah, you can get through the day, but you just kind of get through it. You're exhausted at night, you're stressed out, and you just don't have the energy to do the things that you used to be able to do or that you want to do. That's because your mitochondria is not working like it's supposed to. And if you can understand this conversation, I'm going to share with you some things that can help improve mitochondrial function as well. But understanding this is huge. Many of us, if you go back and remember like eighth grade, biology class or physiology, when you learned about cellular health, they taught us that the mitochondria was the powerhouse of the cell, right? Well, it is. It's the engine. It's the nuclear power plant, the reactor inside that plant that takes the food you eat, breaks it, takes the chemicals that are the fuel for the body and converts it into usable energy. It converts into something called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Your body is supposed to take the fuel you have and convert it into 34 to 36 ATP. New research is saying that now people have less mitochondria, so less production of those energy cells, and those cells are now producing maybe 18 to 25 ATP per mitochondria, which is causing massive fatigue. And fatigue causes anxiety and depression and insomnia, leads to obesity, leads to metabolic issues. If we can get you energy, you're going to want to move your body. So let's talk a little bit about mitochondria. I want to read some of these notes that I've got for you. So check this out. A diseased body is like a car that runs out of gas. You guys know I love analogies. The engine might be intact, the tires might be perfectly inflated, and the body might be free of dents, but without the proper fuel. And that's the key. It's not just the fuel going into the gas tank. It's going through the combustion engine and converting that gasoline or that diesel fuel into usable energy. It's very similar to the human body. It can't function without energy. And unfortunately, modern medicine does not have an answer for this. Modern medicine often resembles a mechanic that's diligently trying to fix a flat tire and replacing spark plugs when a car's out of gas, right? And I don't mean that to be rude, but that's just the way it is. There's a lot of overpriced, underproductive services that get approved through insurances and things like that just don't work. And if you understand from a cellular standpoint, if your mitochondrial is functioning, your cells work. If your cells work, your tissues work. If your tissues work, your organs work. If you then as an organism can work better. So just understand that this is precisely what happens when surface level symptoms that people have, like fatigue or pain or even high blood pressure or cholesterol, are treated without addressing the root cause of the disease or the disease as it sits. And a profound energy deficit at a cellular level is the cause of most people's problems. Every process in your body depends on cellular energy being produced by the mitochondria. So when the energy levels are insufficient, your body it cannot repair and it cannot regenerate and it cannot heal. So if we can recharge your ATP, recharge your cells, and that can be done through many, many things, through making sure that you're eating the foods that you're genetically programmed for exercising your body in the rate, rhythm, and amplitude that you are genetically programmed to do that for, taking the supplements that you're not getting in your diet that your body needs from a deficiency or a toxicity standpoint. And there are many things that you can test to see that. Blood tests can show that, urinalysis test. A genetic profile test is probably one of the most, if not the most foundational aspect that every man, woman, and child should do to have a roadmap or a blueprint of what they should do. And again, when cellular energy is insufficient, your body cannot repair, it cannot regenerate, and it's going to increase the damage. So just think about that. If you've got nagging issues, if you've got chronic fatigue, it's because your body doesn't have the energy it needs to repair and regenerate. But when the energy production is up, then the body can heal itself from chronic illnesses, from chronic inflammation, and so much more. So the current approach to medicine really falls to on the old school model of take this drug for that symptom. And by the way, a lot of nutritional supplements make those claims as well, but supplements don't work that way. You don't take this product to get rid of those symptoms. You take these nutrients or these peptides or these microbes or these hormones or whatever it may be to improve cellular function to get a physiological response. That's how it works. So if we want to deal with, chronic illness and all those things, we have to get our ATP function to come back up. And again, the current approach of medicine, it fails to acknowledge this fundamental truth, and it focuses on managing the symptoms. What would you rather have done? Somebody manage your chronic illness like diabetes, or would you rather have a plan of action to reverse it? What if I told you that there are opportunities for that? Now, you have the opportunity to choose. You can use allopathic medicine that manages your diabetes, or you can go down the discovery path of learning how to eat, exercise, sleep, supplement, what to do, what not to do, and give your body time to heal itself and reverse those things, because it can happen, but the choice is truly up to yours. So understanding that the very foundation of health is required, it requires energy. And only by optimizing this energy system, the ATP, will you be able to unlock your body's really own innate ability to not just, live, but to thrive. So let's talk a little bit about mitochondria a little deeper. Yes, it's the powerhouse of the cell. Inside almost every single cell, there are some cells that don't have mitochondria, but inside every single cell in the body of the cell, there's this thing called the mitochondria. And it's really a piece of technology. It's like a little micro machine inside of a cell. And if you really go and you look at a cell and you look at what's in it, there's DNA and ribosomes and proteins and intracellular cytoplasm and RNA and DNA and mitochondria. They're all like little pieces of a machine that work beautifully together. But because the mitochondria gets disrupted, by the way, it's known as the powerhouse of the cell. These are they're primarily responsible for converting food that you eat and supplements you take into energy. So your mitochondria produces about 90% of the chemicals that your body needs and requires. This energy is necessary for every biological function, from thinking to eating to sleeping to healing to even your immune system and cellular repair. According to widely accepted theory in healthcare, over 1 billion years ago, mitochondria were once free-living bacteria that mutated beneficially in the body. Now, that's the theory. I wasn't around, so I couldn't tell you. But I will tell you that mitochondria work freely on their own, and they also work within the ecosystem of your cells. So it's really amazing, the symbiotic relationship that our body has. And there's still evidence today of that. Mitochondria remains to have their own DNA, okay? A distinct form of DNA in the cell's nucleus, by the way, allowing them to replicate independently on their own. Structurally, mitochondria also can reproduce if given the right scenario. The mitochondria are also remarkable adapters to stress. They can change their shape, they can change the number, the location, where they're at inside the cell, based off of the response of the energy demand that the body's looking for. The body's an amazing thing. It's got this inborn innate intelligence that it's communicating through nerves and cell signals and exoplasm and all these kinds of things in the body. And your body, it needs that communication, and it needs that energy production so your heart can pump, your lungs can breathe, your bowels can move, your brain can function, and et cetera. So how does mitochondria generate energy? Let's just talk about that for a minute. So mitochondria produces energy through a process called oxidative phosphorylation. oxidative phosphorylation. It begins with something called glycolysis, which is in the cytoplasm of the cell. It's in that jelly-like substance that surrounds the nucleus. So during this stage, glucose, sugar, is broken into simpler molecules that generate small amounts of ATP, and that carries energy. Those little molecules then are transported into the mitochondrial matrix, where it undergoes a bigger chemical process to make ATP. And this process involves NADH and acetyl-CoA and other chemicals in the body and other amino acids if you're deficient in, because you don't have enough protein, you don't produce enough peptides, or et cetera. That's going to turn that ability to function down. These high energy electrons that are produced by that carry this NADH to other molecules, and then it produces that ATP, produces that end result of energy. So what are things that can cause, if you will, like a short circuit of energy production, or a hiccup, if you will? So oxidative phosphorylation is highly efficient. It's a very efficient process in the body that even though we don't take care of ourselves very well, our bodies have learned to adapt to those stresses. By the way, it has flaws though, and it has damage to it. An imbalance in the system leads to what's called reductive stress, is the condition where too many electrons accumulate into that little transport chain, and it can't make the ATP like it's supposed to. So cells get toxic. And so we need to do things to detoxify the body. And there are many, many things that can be used, binders and detoxifiers and zeolites and, fulvic and humic acid and minerals, and eating leafy green vegetables and eating organic food and drinking pure water. Those are things that can help with that. But even though that those issues can happen, if you have an imbalance in your body of carbohydrates, if you're eating too many carbohydrates, if you have overconsumption of carbohydrates, which most people do, that can shut down your ATP production. If you have too much production of bad fats, processed foods, processed junk foods, fast foods, vegetable oils, fried oils like nut oils, seed oils, things like that could be problematic. And if you don't get enough protein in your system, you don't have enough amino acids to signal to the cells to do their job. So beyond the energy aspect, the mitochondria has all kinds of things it does. It balances homeostasis, which is the robbing Peter to pay Paul to keep things balanced in the body, of calcium. By acting as a calcium reservoir, mitochondria absorb and release calcium. It's a really big deal in the body because calcium contracts muscles, magnesium helps relax them. A lot of times people get tight muscle fibers, they get nerve pain, they get plaque deposits of calcium in their arteries or other areas of their body, and that's because mitochondria is a problem. It deals a lot with apoptosis, which is cell regeneration and repair. In response to cellular damage, stress or infections or whatever, mitochondria releases a specific protein, such as cytochrome C and others, that actually lead to cell death so that cell can go away. So if you don't have proper mitochondrial production, then you can't get rid of those bad cells. And you need to get rid of those bad cells so new cells can come. And if those cells don't go through that apoptosis, cell death and destruction, they just sit there. They're called sentient cells, which are known as zombie cells, which can lead to some serious problems. They're also, the mitochondria also produce what's called reactive oxidation species, which is a natural byproduct of cellular, what's called respiration. Okay. And that is really important to help with oxidative stress in the body. These molecules are the messengers, if you will, for the reactive oxidation species, which is, if it's not working like it's supposed to, cells and tissues can't repair. Just think about that. Mitochondria doesn't work. Cells and tissues cannot repair. Peptides like BPC-157 have been able to help facilitate that. Certain bacteria in the gut, certain microbiomes, certain funguses and bacteria can help with that. Certain enzymes can help with that as well. Another thing it does is its adaptability to cellular health. Mitochondria are dynamic. They're called organelles, by the way. And they lead to continually adapting based off of the cell's environmental stress. For instance, if you're in a high period of high demand stress because you're in a marathon or you're stressed out or you got to study for a paper or you got to do a long drive, those mitochondria, the cells read the system, and the mitochondria help adapt to that to help with physical activity, recover from injuries. If you're sick, the mitochondria helps your body repair from, damage from pathogens. So if you take forever to heal, if you get a flu or a cold and you feel like crap for weeks, you probably have a mitochondrial problem. This is a lot more than people think. And it's the vital role of mitochondria and energy production and ATP is just, it's so powerful. It's so important on so many levels. And by the way, there's a massive link between cellular energy and diseases. Low mitochondrial energy production may be the hidden driver behind chronic illnesses. And we believe that it is. Most functional medicine doctors believe that it is. That's why using certain peptides, doing certain things to improve mitochondrial function, exercising, living your DNA lifestyle, eating your DNA diet, getting the right kind of rest and recovery, all help with ATP and mitochondria production. But you need to understand that this really goes to a longevity and an anti-aging conversation. Mitochondrial dysfunction drives autoimmune conditions. These immune cells require substantial energy for activation and proliferation, and mitochondrial dysfunction compromises that. So if you're dealing with any type of autoimmune issue, which we know that the majority of those can be dysfunctional from the gut, it's probably ATP and mitochondrial issues as well. So chronic fatigue syndrome, all these other chronic inflammatory issues and chronic pain could be that. Now, here's the issue. Diagnosing mitochondrial dysfunction, it's not easy. And it's not inexpensive. Most people have it. They should just change their lifestyle to accommodate towards it. I'm telling you, as a practicing physician, if you have the symptoms of mitochondrial dysfunction, any of the things that we just discussed, you need to be on the proper peptide regimen. You need to be on the proper probiotic and prebiotic protocol. You need to be taking the right types of detox formulas. You need to be doing the right type of enzymes with your meals. You need to be eating the right foods that fuel your body, because your lifestyle is what's most likely led to the lack of mitochondrial production that you've got. So listen, I know this is a ton of information, but it's important that we have this conversation, because these are the conversations that true healthcare practitioners are having and real health and wellness experts are having with their patients and with their community. And if you're not in these conversations, how can you possibly be helping yourself or your family or your patients? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go back, rewatch this, listen to this, maybe listen to it in like 0.1 speed so you can slow down and take some notes. And then share it with your friends and your family. Go on our social media pages. Make sure you go to our website. That's peptalk.world, peptalk.world, and you can see all the information that we've got there. And there's more information there on mitochondria and action steps that you can take. And I just need you to understand that knowledge is power, but wisdom is taking that knowledge and applying it to your life. So folks, I hope you appreciate this talk. I look forward to hearing the positive feedback that you have about helping with your mitochondria. And until we meet again, I'm Dr. Eric Naputi. God bless you. God bless America, and God bless the world. Stay smart out there, and I'll see you soon. Be well.